2, 1. We are live.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
We is live, everybody. How you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Hey. So before, when we were in the green room, we were talking about these sunglasses that you're wearing because apparently now you're Joe Cool, and all 2 of your fans recognized you this week when you were walking down the streets of Athens. Apparently,
They half recognized me.
half recognized you
This
because you
is
had
you.
your
You
sunglasses
are the
on.
guy, but you're missing something. And then I put the sunglasses on.
There
I
you
know
go.
you. I know
Yeah,
you. You're on the Two Old Farts show.
there you go. And since
Yeah, but
David can't join us today, I have him right there, right behind us. There's a picture of
he's
David.
always present.
He's always somewhere. So,
Yes.
but today's show is fascinating because today's show we're going to talk about pain and pleasure, which is good because I own a string of Hilga's House of Pain shops that for people that are into BDSM, and franchises are available worldwide. So this pain and pleasure thing is going to be very good for business, I think. So we'll put the links below. So
Yeah.
tell us. So what do you want to talk about this pain and pleasure? Tell us all about it.
What do we know about pain? Let's start with a question. Are those two correlated? One is the opposite of the other, or no? I mean, is the pleasure the opposite of pain, or the pain the opposite of pleasure, or
Here's
are
the thing.
totally
Some
different?
people get pleasure out of pain, whether they like a sadist, like which I am, enjoys inflicting pain. A masochist enjoys being, having pain. In fact, the other day I was walking down the street with a masochist, and the masochist said, "Please beat me," and I said, "No, maybe later." So it just depends. So there's this thing, pain and pleasure. There's a fine line. Some people enjoy pain,
Then it's not pain anymore; it's pleasure.
but
They
it's
turn.
still pain. But the pleasure of pain turns them on.
So it's more about pleasure.
Right, but there's still pain involved.
Yeah, there is. Like basically, yes, it's based
It's not
on
like if you
pain.
get shot, you go, "Oh, I'm in pain," right? That's a different pain. But when you say pain and pleasure, or pleasure and pain tied together, ooh la la, that's a whole thing.
Of course, the first thing that crosses our minds are actually the sexual part of it, but we're not talking only about the sexual part
No,
of
no,
it.
no. We're talking about other things.
But those
Oh,
are
look at,
extensions. It's
yeah,
the Freudic, I think,
yeah. But
testament.
the pain and pleasure is that's a whole thing. And I mean, I think it just depends on um, who you are. Different people have different perspective on what pain is, and different people have different perspective on what pleasure is.
No, I think the pleasure is more abstract. Pain is because there is the pain of the body.
Right.
Let's call it how call it? We'll call it the physical pain. Let's call it,
Okay.
although they are all physical. And there is the pain of the mind, which
Well, like a
we are
tormented mind.
sad and
Right. Sad, happy type thing. Yeah.
yeah, from the emotional point of view, this is also pain. It's a different kind of pain. You don't hurt in the way that my leg hurts,
Right.
and then I go to the doctor and he gives me a painkiller or something and fix the leg. And with mental stuff, is a little more complicated.
Well, that's what we were
Mental
talking
pain is
about last week, right? Because the mental stuff is a whole different perspective on pain. Because people
yeah.
also get there's mental stimulation, right? So there's pleasure there. And then there's pain for like the suffering and people that may be suicidal or whatever. They're going through a pain that people can't understand.
Yeah.
And that's a different type of pain.
Yeah, I think that the pain that the individuals are going through, in our own subjectivity, is something
Right.
that cannot be shared. Actually,
Right.
if you have empathy, okay, you can You can say that, oh, I recognize the pain because we all been into pain.
Right.
We have all lost somebody. We've been in pain. I mean, physical. We've been in pain, mental.
Right.
I make the distinction here, but it's only for the, because I believe all are mental. But yeah, the mental pain gives another dimension to to the reality of pain in
Right.
general. And yeah, it depends on the person, like everything depends on the person. But
Right.
there is something that we all colloquially can say, oh, my head aches, I have a
Right.
headache. We all understand this kind of uh, sentence. I
Right.
mean,
Like I'm in pain because my head hurts me.
yeah, my head, I have a headache.
Right.
It is a classical pain, and in general the pain, it's physiological. It tries to tell you something. It's a message that something is not totally right with your body, if we're talking about this kind of pain.
Well, yeah, because there's a difference. Once again, pain and pleasure is a different offshoot. But
Yeah,
if
but
you're
with
talking about
mental,
a mental pain is going to be much different than a physical pain, right? So that's where I think you see people committing suicide and things along those lines. I think that seems to
yeah,
be
the mental
the
pain
big
is
thing,
mysterious one. It's because we don't know the mind so well as we know the body. I mean, from the
right?
science point of view, that's why we have the pills that can help you if you are in emotional pain, so that you can get relaxed a little or something like that. But the same as it happens with the physical, with the body pain, that if you mentally are suffering, that means also that something is not going right, that you're missing
Right.
something. And
But
you might,
is mental suffering pain though? I think that would be a question I would ask. Is mental suffering pain, or is that just um, mental suffering? I mean, I understand pain, but I think we have to make a
well,
distinction when we
pain,
talk about pain. Is it a
yeah,
physical
but
pain, like
but
you're
the
like, ooh,
physical
that
pain is
hurts?
also suffering. You're suffering
Well,
from your
that's true.
pain. It's an unpleasant feeling.
Right, right, right.
So
Okay,
in a
I can
way,
really go
you
with
can
that.
say that the opposite
Right,
of pleasure is pain
or the
in one
opposite of
way.
pain is pleasure.
Or what? The pain is pleasure.
Yeah,
You're
like I
talking
said,
about the,
some people in let's just look at BDSM or Hilda's House of Pain, if you will. If somebody says to their mistress, "Whip me, beat me, do whatever," and they enjoy that,
yeah.
and they're in pain, but to them, but that's a pleasure. Their pain is pleasure. That's pain and pleasure. Just like if someone's a sadist and they enjoy inflicting pain on somebody, that's a pleasure. So I think they're very much tied together. Now, mental pain, where someone's having a mental problem, if you will, and they're having angst upstairs and pain upstairs, that's I think different. I think that's a different type. I think that's a different type of
It is
pain that we're
different,
dealing
but
with.
it's not at the same
Okay.
time. Because, for example, imagine a situation that the mental pain is caused by others.
Right.
Like, let's take a couple.
Okay.
And one, for example, he or she, doesn't matter, uh, cheats on
Okay.
the other. So, and when the other part of the relationship get to know that this is happening, it brings pain. It feels
Right.
like you're betrayed.
Right.
So there is mental suffering,
Right.
but this mental suffering, it is pain, it is suffering. It
Right.
it 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 does not lead to a pain. Oh, my ear pains here, doctor.
Right.
Look
Right.
here. It's in a general situation. It's a general mental situation that brings pain. Of course, a lot of mental suffering can bring also physical problems. We know
Right.
that.
Right.
Every scientist, they are also talking about it, and we know that a prolonged condition of mental state in which you are not happy and
Yeah.
you're not fulfilled.
Depression brings pain.
Yeah, depression is a condition that, yeah,
Right.
that it brings pain a lot to people. And and it is actually one of the worst pandemics right now, because there are a lot of people who are suffering
Depressed.
from
Yeah, but let me ask you this. So let's talk about this
anxiety.
anxiety, depression. Let's talk about these people. Let's just talk about it in general. So are they depressed and have anxiety because they spend too much time on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube saying, I wish I had that lifestyle? Or they watch too much reality TV, the Kardashians, and go, I wish I had that lifestyle. So because they're not trillionaires flying in private jets everywhere, going to the most exclusive clubs or restaurants, is that why they have angst and depression? Or is it because the world sucks and they just read too much news? I mean, I think when you say
Oh,
people are depressed, I think we have to break that down a little bit.
well, there are many reasons that you can
Okay.
have. There could be what you're describing, of course. It's one part, but if it was only that, that would be easy thing. You just close TikTok, you just uninstall TikTok, and your
Okay.
pain is gone. But no, no, actually, people get uh, like they use social media also like narcotics, like they get when you are into substances, how it's called,
Substance abuse?
addicted. You get
Oh, an
addicted.
addiction. Addiction.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it is an
Yeah.
addiction, and addiction,
Right.
it is a sign of a mental issue,
Okay.
which probably brings pain and suffering. And it can be many things. It can be loneliness. It can be the thing that you described also, that people are creating in their minds
Right.
an idealistic point of happiness, how it should look, your life, how it should look, so that you don't have you're not depressed, or
Right.
you're not empty. But in most of the times, this is fluid compensation, as is it called in psychology, that it's an illusion of the reason that you're actually unhappy. So
Right.
it's not the
Well,
thing that, oh, I am poor. Of course, if you're poor, there are practical problems,
but
that.
wait a second. No, no, no. There's problems. But back in the day, if you were lower middle class or middle class, and because there was no social media. I just got my new teeth, so I have to learn to speak. Well, my no social media. Um, you didn't know if you were poor because everybody around you was middle class, let's say, and you all had a car or two cars. You had a television. You had a roof over your head. You had food. It's like you didn't know to be unhappy. You know what I mean? And now
No,
kids
you
and
knew.
adults.
You knew.
Not really. Listen, we lived in a nice. I mean, listen, we were not wealthy when I grew up. We only had an east and a west wing, and only 4 servants. Everybody else had all an east, a west, north, and south, and had 12 servants. We were very poor. So, and we only had 2 chauffeurs. It was a tough living, or a tough upbringing. But my point and I'm being somewhat sarcastic. People don't know what they don't know. So if I live in Africa, for an example, and I'm in some Zulu tribe in the middle of nowhere, or I'm in the Amazon jungle, and I live in my little hut, and I go out every day and forage for food, and that's all I know, and everybody I know, that's all they know, I'm happy because I don't know about all this. And if you know what I'm saying, if I'm in an African tribe, I don't know about this if I'm in the middle of nowhere. But the minute you bring people into this society, to what we have, then they're like, well, this becomes I want, I want, I want, I want. How do I get it? And then if they don't achieve it, I think that's when they start getting depressed. So that brings the pain. But if you don't know any better, you don't know any better. If you and I and 50 other people are on a desert island and we never have anything to do with the outside world, we don't know. We're on our little desert island. We think it's the greatest. That's Shangri-La to us. We're in the greatest place on the world.
Yeah, but we know.
But and we do know, right? So it's different. So now everybody they want, they want, they want. So
You can unknown.
right? You can't unknow what you don't know. But that's
So
kind of my point,
I
though.
don't know if ignorance is a bliss in a way, but
Maybe I don't think there's
sometimes it
anything
is.
wrong
Yeah,
with it.
but from the point of view of the one that knows,
Mhm.
because sometimes I look at my dog and
Okay,
yeah, and I see she doesn't know that she knows.
right,
That's the difference that we have with the dogs, actually, and with all the animals, that perhaps they are aware of their awareness, of
right.
self-aware,
Okay,
but they don't know that they know that, and we know it. That's the
Right,
difference,
right,
that
right.
we
Okay.
know.
Yeah, but
And this brings a lot of extensions, that we know that we are going to die. We know details. We know, even we are measuring the median lifespan of a human, depending on the country, on the
on a
region,
concept on
local.
a concept of make believe, because
Yeah, those
we're
those
taking the
are
time.
things that add to our knowledge in
Right.
general. Sometimes
Well,
you're in pain because you know
well,
also.
that's true. I know a lot, and I'm in pain constantly because I know that much. No, but but the thing is that if a dog is in a shelter and you rescue her, right? She was pain in the shelter, and then when you take her from the shelter, she now has pleasure because she's with her, if you will, her forever people. So dogs know. I think animals know. I don't think they're. I think they have a better comprehension of what goes on sometimes than we give them credit for.
Yes, because they live more in the present moment.
Right. I
This is
agree.
the only thing that they know, and
Yeah.
depending on what their needs are, and if the needs are fulfilled, they
Right.
don't have the same needs. They are not so complicated. They need food, they
Okay.
need love. The basics are the same to us too. They apply to us too. We need,
Right.
if we don't find, now let's start. We were already discussing it, this part of the pain, the mental one,
Right.
because we realize that the physical pain, it's what is physical pain. You go to a doctor, you have an issue with a part of your body,
Right.
you fix it or not.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes you don't fix it, and that's it. But the mental pain is pain in the ass, in a way. It's, yeah,
No,
it's
David's not here. Oh, I'm sorry.
I told you, he's everywhere. I see
He's
him there,
everywhere. Right. Right. Yeah.
up there. And yeah, and this pain is hard to deal with. Of course,
Right.
we have some medications now, and they are working pretty good. But on the other hand, you don't want to spend your life, the rest of your life, with medications that make you
Sure.
kind of vegetable in a way. I
Yeah.
mean, you need to feel pain as well. It's
Right.
part of the world. It's part of what's going on. You cannot understand the light part of something, of a tree, if you don't see also the shadow of it.
Right.
You have to read it, in its whole thing. So the whole thing comes in life. Life comes with pain as well. You cannot avoid it. We
Right.
try to avoid it all the time, but eventually we will not avoid it.
Well,
It's
there's
always
always going to
somewhere
be
there.
pain. Like you don't have. Nobody has. I mean, if they do, lucky them. 100% of pleasure, 24/7.
No,
I mean,
no, it's
Caligula
impossible.
did.
It's
He
impossible
had that.
because no, no,
But other than that,
it's not the way that the universe works.
right? No, you
Our
have to have
mind.
the yin and yang.
Yeah, you need to
Right.
have balance. You need to
Yes.
have balance.
Yes.
I mean, there is existential need for balance, because if
Right.
there is no balance, then there is no concept. I mean, there is no darkness without the light.
That's
There
true.
is no light without the darkness.
So in that light, there
One
is
needs the
no
other.
pun intended, right? There's no pain without pleasure, and there's no pleasure without pain. You have to
Yeah,
know A. You have to know A and B to understand.
yeah. It's the same with all the concepts, like any kind
Mhm.
of feeling, that love,
Right.
the absence of love. Those are very
Well,
clear concepts. You know that
right.
because you have the need to love.
Right.
If you're not satisfied in this, if you don't have the pleasure to love,
Right.
to give love, and to accept love, because
Okay.
somebody else also needs to give you love. It's an interconnection. It's a sharing thing. Then you're in the road towards pain. It's pretty sure.
Yeah,
So,
but
there are those needs that we need to fulfill. There are basic
right.
needs, there are like archetype needs, like
Right.
love, as I said. You need to survive. It's the
Right.
first priority, because without survival, there's no love, nothing, no
There's no
pain, not
pain.
even
There's no
pain.
pain. No pleasure. There's nothing. You
No,
have
there's
to
nothing. So the survival,
survival
no,
is number one. So then
survival
after
is
you
number one
survive,
in general. In
yes.
general, we are equipped with a system to survive that has been developed for many thousands of years, maybe
Right.
millions of years, also.
Right.
And this is the thing that we are now. We are still in pain. You see, we cannot avoid the pain. Of course, society, I think, will try to avoid pain. It's already doing it.
Okay.
The painkillers for the body,
Right.
but
Well,
also for the mind.
I was just gonna say
They're
they
keep,
give you, they try to dope, they try to keep you in some crazy place.
yeah, they stimulate the chemistry in your brain,
Right.
and they bring you those kind of chemistry that brings you pleasure.
Okay.
Of course, there are not many reasons for you to be in pleasure or happy, about something. Somebody asks you why are you happy, and you say, I
I'm
don't
always
know.
happy though. I'm always a happy guy. I'm always happy because being a part of the Illuminati and lizard people, we're ruling the world. So we're very happy and we're destroying it. No, I'm just a happy person in general. Nothing really gets me down. I guess that makes me a psychopath. So I mean, but I'm just very
No, you're in
content.
general a happy
I
person.
wake up happy. I go to bed happy. My day, even if something goes wrong, after I
You
get
know
over
how to
the initial,
deal with it.
we, yeah, we deal with it, but I don't sit there and it doesn't ruin my day. I think about it. I'm like, how do we make it better? How do we avoid this for the next time? And I'm like, okay, now we go on with our day. And it's just, I don't get, I mean, if I get like, even when I drive, if someone cuts me off, and you know how people keep things bottled up inside, I'll say out loud, yeah, you're an idiot, and I just continue driving and I'm done. I could care less. And then I always joke, I wish I had the James Bond car where I could push buttons and fire missiles at them, you know. But I don't. I'm not unhappy. I'm always happy. I probably because I live in my own little delusion, but I just like being
Like
happy.
everybody.
I don't like being sad and depressed. And if I feel that I'm overstressed, where I'm going to get to that point where I'll be sad or, if you will, depressed, where it would be painful, I have my scotch and my cigar, and I take my one or two hour mini holiday, and I'm good. Listen to music or read
So
something,
you
and
have
then I come
found the
back.
ways to block out the pain and the stress out of you.
I think I not so much
But
block it. I
it's not the
think
case with
to
most of the people.
right, but I think I've found a way to work through it
Yeah.
instead. You know how some people they just like they beat a dead horse, right? It's like something happens and it's like something will happen today on Monday and on Friday they're still talking about this person or this
Oh,
thing.
Friday. Some happenings they follow them to the rest of their lives.
Right. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, and not
Yeah,
everybody
because
here.
it's not in your system. But if you see somebody like this,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
manage to create a system that you can
but I think also
unstress
because
yourself.
I've come close to death 4 or 5 times in my life. And I don't mean like, I mean, I've come close to where it's like the doctors were like, you shouldn't be here. And that's another show. But because of that, and it happened when I was young, I think it gave me a coping mechanism because I was like, and plus the humor that I grew up with. I think it's just one of those like, okay, it is what it is, and we just
Yeah.
make fun of it. When I got blown up, which we'll talk about in another show, she was wonderful. She was into blow torches. Just kidding. She they gave me 50 hours to live because of all the gas that was inhaled into my lungs. And I was like, and I bet the doctor, I was like, I got $500 that says I don't think so. And he just looked at me like, are you kidding? I'm like, yeah, come on. I mean, I was like, what, 15, 16? And it's just, I think you have a strong mental constitution or you don't. And I also think it's the way you're raised, it's the people you're with, and all that helps you cope with what life throws at you. So
Yeah.
other people, I think, could have gotten that situation and would have been depressed and like, I just want to die. And I'm like, yeah, I have too many people to piss off yet before I want to die. So I don't look at like I don't if I feel like I'm getting, if you will, pain, which is depression or something like that, or sad. Now I feel lonely, but I don't feel that's a pain. I just feel lonely. Sometimes like I feel lonely today. And for whatever reason. And I'm like, okay, and I just go do something and I'm like, okay, but you can change your mental outlook, I think. My opinion. I don't think
Well,
if you don't
it's
sit there if you're
complicated. It's
lonely, change it.
complicated
Is
because
it
if it
though?
were that easy, look, if it were that easy, then there would be the world would be more happy place. But
But
it's
wait,
not.
wait. If the to use a term from the '60s, the man wants to keep you down. To all our friends from the '60s, but if you're not taught how to be strong mentally and or physically, how do you know then when you're if you're depressed or you're this or you're that? in these
Well,
chemical,
you have to
but
create mechanisms. This is
right, but that's
pretty
my point
sure
though.
that
But is
this is
taking
what
drugs the right
this
way?
is.
I like they give drugs for people that are bipolar. Now, I'm sure there were people that were bipolar for thousands of years that never took drugs and seemed to manage. So, are we becoming a society though where it's like let's push pills to make you feel better, so you don't think about the reality instead of like learning to teach people how to cope with the reality? That's only my question.
Yeah, the truth is that through pain,
Right?
you learn a lot of stuff. Actually, I believe that you mainly gain and learn things through your pain. Not
Okay.
necessarily, that kind of pain that is depression, very
Right.
heavy, and that doesn't allow you to move. You only sleep and
Right.
you don't do anything. But it's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity because there is something that is telling you, look, your life is not the way that you would like it to be. You still have time to change it.
Well, you
You
can
still have
change
the
it every
time
day.
to experience something that you are after. You want to. Maybe you
Right.
don't know actually the form of it, and that's the beauty of life. That we
Right.
make idealistic projections in our mind on how the world we would like it to be, but it's never like that. Or how we would like the future to be, and we try to
Right.
build it. It's never like that.
Well,
But that's the beauty of it. That it might be
we
different, but it
plan.
might be also a happy place. It might be
Right, right.
also
But
bring you
like I
pleasure.
plan and I don't like go, I mean, I have to plan, for business and I have to plan for like our family office. So I do planning, but I don't have rose colored glasses on how the world is or should be. I look at the world as what it is, right? Because I have to read 97 newspapers every morning and whatever the news. So I see what the world for what it is. So my planning is how to make sure that I protect myself and my family for planning, not so much any other make believe thing, you know. Like there's no delusion of what goes on. There's no delusion on what has to get done. There's no. It's like we have to go from A to Z. So, but once again, I think that comes with your upbringing. I think part of your
Yeah, this
mental
is an
well-being is your
essential
upbringing.
period of
Yeah,
time. I mean, when we are young and we are absorbing like a sponge everything,
right.
this becomes our system later.
But it's the people you surround yourself with. I was fortunate that
It's
my
the people
family
as well,
surrounded
of
myself with
course.
people that read, that were well spoken, well educated, that had IQ points. And I think today we're raising a society of pussies because what do they surround themselves with? A phone and an iPad and TikTok. Now, if we're in China, TikTok's teaching you how to be a doctor or a lawyer or a surgeon or an astronaut. In the United States, we're teaching you how to dance. So I think there's a lot to be said to what we absorb. Like I like to read. And I said, we were having a dialogue the other night with somebody, and I said, oh man, I read like 3 or 4 books a week. And they're just like, what? And they read a couple books, and everybody else is like, "You guys read that many books?" I'm like, "How many books do you read?" They're like, "Well, I read 1 book a year," and I'm like, "Okay, well, that explains in my mind. I didn't say it out loud. Why you're an idiot, and that we're talking about 14 subjects, and you don't know anything." But people don't know anything because they choose to. I think as well be ignorant.
Yeah,
People
but you
don't want to be
said that
informed.
also ignorance is a bliss. So then maybe they want
Well,
to be
it
blessed.
is if I live on an island and I don't have to worry about the world, or if I live in the middle of the Amazon and I don't have to worry about the world.
Yeah, in the
But
age of information, you
it
have
doesn't
to
work.
try to avoid the information.
Right,
It's
right, right. And some people do. They live off the grid. They do
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They they
But if
they,
you
they
look at the
choose. They
Incas and the
choose.
Mayas, their ignorance is bliss didn't go so well for them. When Cortez and the boys showed up and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Ignorance plus bliss didn't work out. So it's kind of one of those. It's a catch-22. There's no right or wrong, but I do feel bad for people that don't have role models to help them deal with the pain or the depression or this or that. That's where I feel bad. The pleasure stuff's
Yes, of
all easy.
course.
Like you can figure out what pleasure is. That takes about a minute. Pain is a whole different. And if you don't have a support network, there's no one to really talk to. Now in America, I think it's either 977 or 877. That's the suicide hotline. And I know you can call them and you can talk to someone, which is good.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
but
It's always good to summarize a little. It's always good to talk with somebody if you're in pain mentally, that you're feeling down, if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling. It's always good. We are
right,
social species. We need others to exist. We are successful because we are social. We cooperate.
Right.
That's why humans have created so much, because they have cooperated together, so we can make any kind of good,
Yes.
because all those goods have been through many hands of human, of now machines, but the machines are built somehow from the minds of the people.
Yeah,
So there's
I
always
agree.
a human involved into it. So trying to find help, trying to speak with somebody is always a good road
That's
to
true.
lead. I'm pretty sure, of course, that people know that, and most of the people that are suffering, mentally, they know all the things. They could even know the roots of their pain,
Right.
but it's not always easy to handle it. It's not
Yeah.
always easy to get through it. For example, if you lose somebody you loved so much in your life, and
Right.
she dies, it's like that. It's one of the things that happens in life. Then the pain, with the gone person, it's very incredible. You miss them.
That's
You
true.
miss
I
if
well
you
when
had
my
them every day. It's not
yeah,
that easy to say, okay, let's go through it and let's
but
continue. And
be
it's not the same
well,
life.
yeah. Well, when my cat died, or my dog died, or even when my mom died, you miss them, but then you just move forward. And also, just to change the subject for a brief second, Dawn, our friend Dawn is back, and we missed her last week, and she's apologizing that she missed the show last week. So Dawn, welcome back. And Dawn wants to ask questions, so Dawn, type away, and we'll answer your questions for you. I just thought we'd give Dawn a shout out because we missed her last week, but
Of
we
course.
weren't in pain. We were just a little upset that she wasn't there. So there's Dawn; she's back. So anyway, but I agree with you on the fact that when someone passes, you miss them. But do you actually miss them because you're being selfish and you miss that pleasure of their company, or do you really miss them because you miss them? I think that's a very
Well,
interesting
what does it
concept.
mean, miss them? You miss them
Yeah.
because you had good time with them, you sharing with
Right.
them, you have good time, quality time with this person. And as I said, that we are a species that we need companionship.
Right.
If you have found this companionship in your life and then you lose it, it's a pain, it's a gap,
Right.
it's something that is changing your life totally, and it's totally normal to have pain and miss this person. It is egoistic in a way. We are egoistic. It's not bad to be egoistic. It's one of the survival tools, as we said.
Right.
But it depends on the extensive of egoism. But this there are so many situations in which this can happen and bring a lot of pain. You can be a parent, for example, and lose a
Yeah.
child.
Right.
I met a guy here, and he one of the first things that he told me that he lost his son,
Oh wow.
40 years old. Yeah, and
Wow.
I cannot imagine the pain of a father or a mother
Right.
losing their child. It's
Yeah.
enormous pain,
Right.
and from whatever point of view you take on it, either it's egoistic or no, it's a lot of pain. I mean,
Right.
it's unbelievable.
Well, it's
You
like
know,
losing a parent. I mean, like when my mom passed, my mom, I took care of her for 3 years because we didn't want to put her in a nursing home. So she lived with us, or me, I should say. And I took care of her until the day she died. She died in her room, her bed, my house, but she died, you know, where she was comfortable, not at a hospice, not this. We had nurses and blah, blah, blah with her. So we made sure that she was comfortable when she passed away. And
you see,
that's the
you
way we
try
ended
to
up
take a little of the pain away, so
for
it's
her.
easier for
Right.
her. and
And,
and
and
if it's for her, it's for you as well, in a way.
maybe. But the other thing which was also interesting is when she passed, we were there. Like not a lot of people are there when people die, right? They're not,
Yeah,
they're
that's
on the way to the
another.
hospital or they weren't at the accident or someone dies in their sleep. No, we were there. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were there when she took her last breaths, the nurses and everybody. And it was sort of like, okay. And I mean, it was bittersweet to see her go, but it was like she went, she's 97, so it wasn't like she died young. So she I always joke she should live to be 100. But so there was not a lot of pain. It was more of a little bit of sorrow, and I miss you. And then the really weird part is when they came to take her, We actually had to help them take her body and put it into the the meat wagon, so to speak, the van for where they put the dead. We have to actually help her like do that, and that was bittersweet. And then of course the cremation, and then that was it. And so a little bit of her stays with us all the time because we have her ashes, and that's like, I guess that's they take away, to your point, the pain. It's like, oh look, I have the ashes. Okay, not that And if you believe, whether we talk about the absolute and God and universes or whatever, yeah, she's around, or she'll be around wherever she's going
Yeah,
to be.
she's become the world.
Yeah, she's part of she's part of space, the final frontier. She's part of the universe. So I look at it like, okay, I'm good. So I miss her once in a while. Something will happen. I'll be like, my mom would find that funny, and that's it. And then I just go on with my day. So
yeah, that's the way to go. You cannot. There are things that you cannot do very much to ease the pain, but you do some few things that it might help a little to take away the big pain.
I agree. But I think, once again, it becomes a coping mechanism. And I think, being brought up in New York with a bunch of Jews, being Jewish, right? Everybody just makes fun of everything. We laugh at everything, whether it's death or whatever. A tragedy, we still make fun of. And I think that has a lot to do with your mental upbringing. So everybody's going to handle pain or pleasure differently, or depression, if you will.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying.
Course.
This generation, I don't think, can handle anything. The kids that are coming up today, like, I don't think the people that are, say, 30 and under, they can't handle anything. They can't handle depression. They can't handle happiness. I feel very sad for them, because I don't think they've got fully developed brains yet. I don't think they've had that luxury, because they don't think. They got stuck in front of a television or an iPad by their parents, and they're like, there you go. Where we were kids, you had to go out and play and do, and you fell down and you hurt yourself. There's pain.
Yeah, but for the parents, it's more safe if they are.
Yeah, that's true. That's ridiculous. More safe. Then you become a pansy. Like when I was a kid, we'd climb a tree, you'd fall out of the tree. All right, you didn't break anything. You're like, yay! In fact,
some have
somebody
fallen
sent
and
me.
died.
Yeah, and if you die, you die. We were on monkey bars and gyms and like seesaws, and oh my God, I remember somebody sent me a video of kids jumping bicycles. We did the same thing. You'd make a makeshift jump with wood you'd find in the neighborhood, right? And you'd make this jump, and you would jump, right? You would jump your bike, right?
Yeah.
We're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever you are. And I was thinking to myself, we used to do that. No helmets, no pads, and we all survived. And you know what? I'd come home, if you fell, scratched up, bruised up, bloody, and your mom would get out the iodine or the bacteria spray, and you would like scream in pain because they'd be putting all this on all your open wounds. And the next day you were fine. And I think that's part of growing up and being tough, but putting a helmet on and putting
but that's not the only way, because an older generation would say, oh, come on, I put my 5-year-old guy to work on the outside in the olives or agricultural stuff. I mean, very early.
Well, here's something that one of our watchers are saying. They said food, sleep, and a whole lot of other things affect your state of mind. And I think that I never really think of that. I guess food and sleep do affect your state of mind.
They do, of course they do.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but see, I don't think like that. I mean, it does. I know when I eat like a chocolate, I'm really happy. So I guess that does affect your state of mind.
It affects your state of. First of all, it affects very much your state of mind if you're hungry and then you eat.
Yes, they call it hangry.
Then it immediately affects your state of mind. Yes. You have pleasure. You see the body is telling you, "Oh man, thank you. I needed this lunch or something. I was so starving," and the pain for a while is gone. And this is also a thing, that the pain, like anything, like nothing, in fact, is not permanent. Actually, nothing is permanent.
That's true. So, well, and the other thing they say, not a lot of people have moms or dads. That's also very true. I guess
I don't have anymore.
Well, I don't have any more either. I mean, I killed them for their money. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not the Menendez.
And it wasn't so much money as I thought.
Yeah, that's right. Then I was very upset.
And pain.
Then pain.
Again,
I got
and
too much pain. I was pain when I saw the will. No, I made my own money, so it worked out well. My dad died when I was very young. He died when he was in my 30s, and he was in his like 50s, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And my mom died, like I said, a few years back, and she was 97. But to the Dawn's point where she's typing this, a lot of people don't have a mom and a dad, so you don't grow up that way. And I think, but even then, in today's society, I don't know if you come from a single parent household, if that's the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're one parent or you're one guardian or the one adult in your life shows you love, I think that's a good thing.
That there's one?
As long as there's somebody showing you love and showing you that you're special and that you're this, or jokes with you and plays with you, and like, kids with you, to make you, without you knowing it, mentally tough and make you feel good. And I think you're good. So I think that's important.
Yeah, you need at least one external person out of you to love you too. I mean, beside yourself, which is the basic, to love yourself. I mean, to eliminate big part of pain in your life, because there will be pain, but to eliminate big part of unknown pain that comes to you is to love yourself. That means also to represent your childhood, also to make peace with your childhood or whatever you've been missing, and talk with yourself a lot. It's not just one conversation, it's many conversations, what you are after, and to see what you have, because we always focus on what we don't have. And this also brings, a lot of pain, because if I start putting down on a paper, I have two papers here, and what I don't have in one and what I have on the other, there'll be a bunch of things in both. But if I focus only on those things that I don't have, first of all, I'm not fair, because I'm focusing only on one side, on the dark side. I don't have, like you said, this kind of beautiful body, on this fame or this money and all this, the looks and everything. I don't have this.
The good thing is I have all that. So I have no pain right there. So we're good. So
that's why your paper is full what you have, and the other what you don't have is not many things, so you don't pay too much attention.
I look at this, to your point, whatever I don't have, and I'm okay with that, because I don't have it.
Yeah, but sometimes we want to be, with dreams, and
dreams are okay, but if I look at something and I'm like, okay, it's like, all right, there's certain things that I look at and I'll be like, do I really want that? No, not really. And what I realized over the years is want and need, two different things.
Yeah.
What I need is X, Y, and Z, and what I need
has to be fulfilled. You will have pain if you will not have it.
And it could be whether it's food, cigars, scotch, a car, a plane, a trip, whatever.
Small things, but it
could be nothing. It could be it could be a stuffed animal, whatever the need is, and that's perfect, or a chocolate bar. But wanting something that I don't really need is a different mentality for me. I don't look at it and go, "Oh, I need this." No, I don't really need anything. It's like I'm good, and I think that the issue today is that we don't teach in society people how to go, I'm good. Like, you know what? I've got a roof over my head. I've got food on the table. I make money. I do this. I'm good. Now, it's good to aspire to do more and to be more and work at being more.
Yeah, and there'll be situations in which you might not have money. You might lose a job. You might lose a partner. You might. It probably will happen.
Right, but then you have to be good. Then you have to mentally be strong enough to work through it, whether you talk to people or do it on your own or however you do it, so you can come out the other end and go, I'm good. And that makes you stronger. Like what Nietzsche said, right? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I know there's more to that paragraph, but I don't remember it. But I did read it, and I'm not going to go through it. But anyway, I agree with that. If it doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger.
Only if you take a lesson from it.
Well, that's the thing. Most people don't take a lesson from things that happen, and then they go, why do I keep hitting my hand with the hammer all the time? I don't know, because the first 26 times you didn't learn the lesson. And I think that's part of it. So, but to your point, I think a lot of people don't learn the lesson.
No, they don't learn the lesson, because it comes again to the topic that you're talking so often, that about the newer generation.
Right.
Um, there are a lot of people who are avoiding pain. This is the truth.
Yes.
Don't face the pain. Don't face the challenges of life, because the pain is challenge of life.
Right.
It's a basic challenge of life. It's
Yeah.
now you're in this shitty situation. You need to get through it.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but you need to get through it.
Right.
And if you look on your life, I mean, on your history of your life, your past and everything, we all had those situations, and we managed.
Right.
Well, some people don't manage and break.
Right.
That's the problem. That some people are not that strong enough, and because of many factors, as you said, that because of problematic childhood, the system is not good enough to protect them. The system that they have, the
Right.
shield, as I say, that we need to develop a shield towards the challenges that are coming and breaking us.
Yeah.
Because if we are in general, I think, very fragile, but some people are more fragile than others.
Right.
That's obvious. Sometimes I'm very fragile. I'm very sensitive to things.
Right.
I can. That doesn't make me, a person who is not going to deal with a problem. But sometimes I can cry from a movie.
Me too.
Yeah, it's and I like it, because
Mm.
that means that this movie moved me,
Right.
because I
Right.
knew it was all about lies, but
Yeah.
somehow the idea that was behind the story, that was behind the movie, moved me to a new
Right.
place where I totally got into it. That's why it became part of my system, and that's why
Right.
I externalized with feelings.
Well, I
And
remember the first.
what I wanted to say is also that pain is very is a force behind the artwork creation. Also, you create
Right.
artworks actually when you are in pain,
Oh wow.
mainly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Well, that
more.
explains a lot when they created the creation of David behind me. Now I understand that Rusty was in a lot
It's an
of pain when he
artwork.
created that. Yeah, I can see that
The
now. Yeah. So that's can see that he was in pain, very much so in pain.
there are artworks who are not driven by pain, but but the majority of them, it's not. It misses the deep. I'm not saying that pleasure, it does not have deep things inside it, the
Right,
depth.
right,
It does, but it's not the same kind of depth. I mean,
right,
when you are in a happy period of your life, you mainly enjoy.
right,
You don't make too many existential questions. Oh, will the happiness last forever? You enjoy it. You just out with your friends, or you
right.
drink, you smoke, and you talk.
Yeah,
You forget about everything. I mean, your problems, or even the main fact that you're going to die.
right, right.
You see how
Wait, we're gonna
some
die? This is news to me. I hate this.
sometimes. Well, actually, we're not going to understand it in
You
a
know,
way. I
you know
mean,
when you
we
understand
are,
when
but
you.
not.
I say, you know when you understand about. We know when you understand about death when you die, because then
I'm not
whatever.
sure.
Really? Yeah, I
No,
think that
because
this
look,
the soul, for lack of a better word, or your energy, when it goes, you go, "Oh,
this
okay, I'm
this
going to the next
this
thing."
this is one of the topics that we will cover one day, because
All right,
I'm very much interested.
me
Not
too.
so much. It is also because of the fear of death,
Right?
but it's also something beyond it,
Yeah,
because we will mainly speak about, okay, so life is gone as we knew it.
yeah, yeah.
What is beyond it? This is one of the next
Right,
topics.
right.
But
Well, that
yeah,
we can
the
what you
fear
call
of
we
the
can have that.
unknown brings also a lot of pain. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we can have
fear of
that
what happens
dialogue.
when you die, what
Yeah, fear of
happens
death.
to your beloved ones who have
Yeah,
died.
we can have that dialogue next week if you want. The fear of death.
We'll think about it.
It's your
It's
show,
one
whenever
of
you
the
want.
next shows, but
Yeah,
we'll think about it.
I
Yes.
like it though.
Oh,
But that's
probably we will have one. Yeah.
yeah, but that's an
We'll have
interesting
one.
topic. But see, that brings once
Yeah.
again pain. Death is pain.
Well, we don't know if death is actually pain
Right.
during the death. We don't know it. I probably I think that it's not.
Okay.
I think actually it's a contrast in a way, but I think it's one of the most exciting parts of your life.
I
Probably
agree
even the
with that.
most exciting.
it's the great
And
unknown.
the worst probably is the birth.
Yeah. Well, for the female, it is. I don't think for the male. I think it's
Or for everybody.
interesting.
I mean from the child also. I'm not
For
talking
the
about the
child, yeah,
mother. It's
you
another
had to grow
pain.
up. Yeah, you have
This
to
is,
grow up.
look, we come in pain in
Yeah,
general. So
yeah.
the world is showing you from the very beginning that
And you get
it's,
smacked on your bum. The minute you come out, some girl smacks you. And there you
yeah.
go. And some guys are into that right then
They
and
did
there.
it
They're
to
like,
me
ooh,
because when I was born,
yeah,
I couldn't take the birth. It's a common issue. So
yeah.
they clapped my ass and stuff like this. And but imagine the pain at that moment because you are not
Yeah.
actually, you're using first time your lungs.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna say.
oxygen
And
that is coming, it's
yeah,
burning. You're
yeah,
feeling physical pain, but also emotional in the way, what the fuck am I? It was
yeah.
so nice there.
It was nice and cozy, and
Yeah,
all
in
of a
the
sudden,
womb of your mother,
yeah.
everything was there. I mean, it was safe,
I will
comfort,
say
warm, everything was there. Everything that you need,
it
actually,
was right
right?
there. I will say though, when I got born and the nurse slapped me, I asked her if she would do it again because I enjoyed it. But that's another show.
Oh, maybe she
So yeah,
comes and says, "It's your turn."
yes,
Now.
now it's your turn. And I was like, there you go. Where's the riding crop? That's why Hilda's House of Pain. That's why we own it. But no, but I think it's fascinating that these topics aren't really discussed because people don't know how to go from A to Z anymore. Whether it's death or
From
whatever,
where?
and they don't get it. Like no one talks about the birth. They don't talk about life, and then they talk about death because everyone's afraid to talk about death, or they're afraid to talk about pain and pleasure. And I think that's and I
But
think
when
that's
you're
a bad
talking
thing.
about death, you're actually talking about life in the
Yeah,
very big,
'cause that's
in the
part of
very
it.
deep essence, because this is undoubtedly, we cannot deny it. This is our
Right.
biggest fear, and
Well,
it has come with us. It comes
well,
with a cognition.
one of our fans here just said, when I almost died, I was not in pain. My brain made me really high. So when they almost died, their brain, I guess, gave them lots of endorphins that made them really high. So they didn't realize that they were about to die or in pain. I've heard that from other people.
Yeah, I've heard it also, and we are going
So
to, maybe next time we will do so. Don, we have a lot of talks today
yeah,
in the comments.
I know.
We
Don's
will
like
speak
this.
about keep
Yeah,
your thoughts for the next one, because
yeah,
we will start talking about those things
death.
next time.
And
So
we
okay,
had a
we
few other
will.
people. We had a few other people jump in, and they're all from the UAE. So we'll welcome our UAE fans to our show today as well. So there you go.
Yeah, welcome
Look at
everybody.
us, global show.
So
Who knew? So, well, for everybody that's watching, the show is done live every Monday, and it's around. We'll just say around 9 o'clock Eastern time. So if you don't know what Eastern time is, just look up 9 o'clock a.m. New York City, and you can figure it out. And then it's rebroadcasted every Tuesday morning on podcast as well as on YouTube. So if you miss it live, you can catch the rebroadcast, and then you can catch us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Under Two Old Farts Making Noises, just look for Adam on the Eve, and then we'll see what topics we are. And if you want to be a guest where we see you and talk about this stuff, reach out to the show. If you have something you think you
I'll
want to
bring
say, we'll
guest
put you
also
on camera.
artists soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a guest too from
Yeah, we
Hilda's
will do
House
the
of Pain.
circle with the topics. It's not
Nice.
that we will, most of the times we have some topics because it's
I like
better.
topics. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It
Good. I
keeps
like
us,
this one, the pain and
because we can
pleasure.
speak, I mean, for hours, and the
I know.
conversation will not. We can start from pain and at football.
Yeah,
It's
I
not a
know,
problem.
right? We'll go and pain it. And let me tell
Because
you, some of the football is pain, just so we're clear.
oh, definitely,
If David was here,
definitely.
we'd have to listen to him whine about
That's
whatever
why
his team
that's
is.
why actually, because my team, I am Olympiakos Piraeus. This is
Right,
my favorite team in Greece.
right.
The red white. They managed to get in the four best
Nice.
teams in the one of the European um, championship, the conference league.
Very cool.
And yeah, it's a very good. But
Nice.
I used to look a lot about football, but
Right.
I stopped because it brought me a lot of pain when my team was
See,
losing.
no pleasure, all
I was
pain.
fucked up the whole night later. I couldn't
Listen,
sleep.
I'm
Like,
a
so I said,
I'm a New York.
I cannot continue like this. I have to take it
I,
out.
Okay. Let me help you. For baseball, I'm a New York Mets fan. I get
Okay.
pleasure the first half of the season, and then I'm in pain the rest of the
You
end of the
see?
season. So I totally get the pain and
Yeah.
pleasure for the football fans on a global basis, because I root for the Mets,
But
and
there, I
that's it.
think the ego is playing a big part. The ego, the excessive part of the ego, not of survival, because your
Right. Well,
survival
I
does
already
not
know what's going
depend
to
on your
happen.
on your
Right.
team.
Yeah.
But it's the ego that my team has to win because
Right.
I belong to this team. I belong
Oh
to
no,
this
no.
group of people.
I don't think like that. I'm like, it's the New York Mets. Hey, they won a game. Yay! And then when they lose a game, I'm like, oh, it's the Mets. And when they
Yeah,
win a
I'm
game, like,
like that now
yay!
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but when I was younger, I didn't see it this way.
So
My team
yeah,
has to
that's
win.
the win. Yeah, it's the same way.
Has to win.
I like, it's like I'm on New right. I like the Rangers for hockey. They do relatively well, but I don't get that excited just in case. I like the New York Knickerbockers. The Brooklyn Nets are halfway decent, in my opinion. I love the Mets, and I'm like, this is awesome. But when the Mets do well, I don't get my hopes up. If they ever win a pennant and then get to the World Series again, I still won't get my hopes up until they win. I'll be like, hey, they won. There you go. So, because I remember back as a kid, when I was a kid, which made me love the Mets, when Tom Seaver won the World Series back in the '60s. So I was like, okay, I was like a Mets fan from that point forward. And my whole family likes the Yankees. Go figure. But yeah, I feel your pain. Trust me, on an annual basis, I feel the pain and the pleasure. So, but it was very
Yeah.
good. So it was a good show. It's always good to see you, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for watching live, and for the people that are watching the rebroadcast. Thank you. If you guys are listening on the podcast, thank you. Don't forget to check us out. We'll be back next Monday, and we'll put the topic up right before we go live. If you have a suggestion,
Next
reach out to
topic
us.
is
Yes.
death.
Oh, how exciting! The next topic is death. I can't wait. In
That
fact, I'm
means
gonna.
life.
I know. Yeah, we'll see. All right, everybody.
At
Hold on
its
one second.
best.
We've got David's not here to push buttons, so I have to do it. All right, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you all next week. Adam,
Bye
always a
bye.
pleasure, my friend. Cheers.
Bye.